to today's episode of the BOWTIEGUY podcast. Today I want to talk to you about the realistic reality of punting. You're like, what in the blue moon of Kentucky? This is an educational podcast. Why are we talking about punting? And many of my listeners out there, you're probably wondering, what is that? What is punting? Okay, let me give you a little illustration right here. I'm just going to tell you right now that in the game of football, I swear, it seems that most of life's complications and eccentricities can be best explained by the simplicity of the American sport of baseball or football. But this time we're going to go into the avenue of football. When a team has to punt, okay, there's 4 downs that they were given the opportunity to score a touchdown. But when they cannot achieve a first down, that means another opportunity to reset the downs. I know it's getting a little complicated, but hang with me there. When you reach a 4th down, you have a choice. You can either go for it as a team and take the risk, which, hey, taking risks, that's a good thing. Or you can do something called punt. Now, when you punt, you have a punter who is usually the scrawniest person on the team, and I love some of the helmets. They got one little wiry little metal thing that's supposed to protect their face. I don't know. It's just a bizarre looking thing. But anyways, a punter, it's one of the skinniest, scrappiest cats on the field. They get that ball, and they usually line up way back, many yards behind the offensive line. The punter is given lots of distance so that his ball that he is supposed to kick as far as he can down the field to give the opposing team the biggest disadvantage possible. Now, he is trying to be protected by that offensive line because I have seen video footage of National Football League, Arena Football League, XFL Football League games where the punter was absolutely demolished. If you ever want to see a human car crash with no cars involved and just humans, that's pretty much it right there, buddy. But anyways, when that punter gets that ball and they try to punt it, it's trying to get that ball as far away from that field position as possible. Why? They're giving up their opportunity to convert that 4th down. They could go for it. They could get a new first down. Or there's not a 5th down, folks. If they don't convert on that 4th down, here's what happens. The opposing team gets the ball. It's called a turnover. They get the opportunity where that particular point, where that ball is on the field. And so what happens is they punt that ball to give that team a big disadvantage. But you know what? They're like, they have the mentality, we'll get them next time. We'll take our chances with our defense. So effectively, in the big umbrella of this story I'm telling, when you have to punt sometimes in life, that means you have to give what sometimes feels like an awful lot to get in the future. Now, many of my listeners, you may be thinking to yourselves, okay, I'm still drawing on what he's saying. I'm trying to figure out where are we going with this. Here's where I'm going. Here's where I'm going right now. Some of us like to save. Why do you like to save your money? Because what? You're storing up treasures in heaven? No. Because there's a greener pasture. There's a better day, a better opportunity, a wiser day that money will be spent. Perhaps maybe it's a goal that you set for yourself. Perhaps maybe it's purchasing a property, purchasing a home, purchasing something that you do not want to go into immediate debt for. And I'm sure that the reward tastes sweet for your patience. But when we have to punt in life, especially in the classroom, it can be really tough. And what I'm saying is sometimes you got to give a lot to get a little immediately, but inevitably you can reap a bigger return. So sometimes as a teacher, when you punt, you have to decide, do I love myself? And you're like, what in the blue? Come on now. Do you love yourself? And so are you committed to the cause? Are you committed to pouring yourself out? Because look, teaching is a labor of love. Look, too many of the teaching friends that I've acquired throughout the 10 years of my educational career, some gave a lot, some gave all. And what I'm saying, in a previous podcast, I talked about my good friend Miss Phyllis Bird, who, that's all she had. She loved it. She breathed, eat, slept. She would stay late and she never had children, but that was her life. It was almost like the Mother Teresa complex. She had completely sold out, baby. She had given up any stake. She refused to be a stakeholder in any participation of parenthood, any participation of growing a family, because her family were her kids. And I'm not talking about her biological kids. I'm talking about those kids that were entrusted upon her each and every year. And so, you know what? She had to punt. She had to punt on that decision to be a family person, to be a mother, to be this, to be that, because, she had a greater vision. And, and sometimes we have to give up a lot to get what we think is much greater in return at a later date. I want to just give you a short little anecdote, a little nugget, a little something, if you know what I'm saying, to put in your pipe and smoke it. Perhaps maybe you can contemplate, masticate, congratulate, whatever you need to do with this, but I want you to take it to the hizzy. I want you to take the steeple to the people with what I'm about to tell you. 9.5 years. Look, every time I say I've taught 10 years, I'm a bold-faced liar. I didn't make it to 10 years because I came to a point in my life at 9.5 years where I was about out of gas. And what I'm saying is I was puttering for a few years. And I don't know about you, but this old boy, I've ran out of gas a few times in my vehicle. And it's been a long time. Now, I'm talking back when I was 16, 17, 18, broke as a joke, making sub sandwiches at the Subway, trying to make nickels and dimes to pay my car insurance, to pay my gas. Look, I ran out of gas time or two. And I know some of my listeners out there, you have too. But I think the big thing you need to understand is that you can't pour as a teacher. You cannot pour out of an empty cup. Can I get hallelujah out there? What I'm saying right now is that if you have poured yourself completely slap out and you have nothing to give, perhaps, and I know this is going to be tough for some of you to hear, perhaps, maybe you're geographically challenged. You're not in the right place you need to be. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be a teacher. Look, education is a massive enterprise. Just because you can devote yourself, you can contribute to the massive enterprise of education in a multitude of ways. Doesn't mean you have to pack a pew, baby. Doesn't mean you need to pack a pew on something. No, what I'm saying is you don't need to be a teacher to love education, to love what you do. And that's one thing I'm coming to the realization of, is that I'm a jewel. You're a jewel. We're all jewels. We all need to love ourselves. We need to maintain and keep some dignity about ourselves so that we're not spread too thin. Don't you agree that so many teachers find themselves just in a bad way, in a massive bubble of disillusionment, that teaching isn't everything it's cracked up to be? That when they were going through the hustle and bustle of college, nickel and dime it here and there, to try to get to the land of hustle where they're getting paychecks and consistent paychecks and all that. Look, teaching may not be everything it's cracked up to be. And I'm just going to tell you, from my perspective, growing up in a socioeconomically impoverished environment, single parent home, I thought that teaching would fix some of the disposition, some of the short ends of the stick, some of the bad cards in life that I've been dealt. And can I tell you this? It's not true. We have this deep passion to fulfill our destiny, to enrich, to reach, to grow the people around us. I don't think anybody on this planet is so consumed with themselves that they literally could care nothing about the development and growth about the people around them. I think that everyone has an innate love for humanity as a whole. And I know that there's some real sick creeps out there. But you know what? Deep down to the root of it, perhaps maybe that's just their manifestation of maybe the hurt that's in their heart. And so I just want to tell you that sometimes in life, and I don't mean to be preachy because nobody likes to be preached at, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you how it is from the Horton Hustle perspective. I just want to, hit you where it hurts, right there in the heart. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, and I mean it. You can't pour from an empty cup, because if you are so dilapidated, so spread thin, so exploited, if you will, in your profession, taken advantage of, manipulated, harassed, pulled like that Stretch Armstrong caricature of the 1990s. You know what I'm talking about. That thing was ooby-dooby. And yes, I was one of those cats. I spread that thing way too thin. It had that little ooby-dooby gooey stuff coming out. Look, don't be like that. You need to save something, because your children in your classroom, this is your big epiphany that needs to smack you sideways. Big epiphany for today. And I hope you're listening. Your kids in your classroom deserve the best of you, not the rest of you, because you need to take care of yourself so you can take care of others. If you're not taking care of yourself, you are incapacitated. You're inebriated. You are not in a position where you can lead, love, guide, direct those children that have been entrusted to you. Parents, they send the best of what they have to offer. They are extending a monumental, cataclysmic, just massive amount of trust in you as their teacher. That you are a better alternative to be with that child for that segment of the day, Monday through Friday, the best hours of the week, it seems like. That they're trusting you to lead, guide, direct, shape, mold that child in what is a time that they are sacrificing so they can go find a place of employment, so they can put a roof over their child's head, so they can try to feed. But they're making a decision. Look, they could take the track where they feel like they're the best teacher for their child. And look, and I love homeschool. We actually homeschool our daughter, our 7-year-old. And we value and cherish that intimacy and that time that is fleeting. But I'm just going to tell you right now, love what you do, because if you don't, it shows. If you've been paying attention to my podcast on influences on student achievement, look, if you don't want to be there, it directly affects student achievement. If you've got a bad attitude, directly affects student achievement. If you're not a team player, directly affects the culture, climate of the school. In turn, that affects the influence. That in turn affects the student achievement, the growth, the gains that could be had. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, friends. It's time to go to the admissions machine. Time to go to the doctor. Time to go to the appraiser, the evaluator, to get a good mission of what exactly is your mission. Is it of addition, or are you of the action of subtraction? What do you want to do with your life? So it's time to get some hustle about it. Make some decisions. You can't pour from an empty cup, and your children in your classroom, they deserve the best of you, by God, not the rest of you. That's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode. Pop in. See you next time.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.